The rainy day red light case. When disrespect erases mercy, a mother and her teenage daughter appear before Judge Frank Caprio. The car is registered in the mother's name, but her daughter, Michaela, was behind the wheel when it went through a red light. It was raining heavily, visibility was poor, and the traffic light turned from yellow to red faster than expected. Judge Caprio listens attentively, showing his usual patience and empathy. He reviews the footage carefully, considers the weather conditions, and seems ready to offer leniency. His judgment is clear. This violation deserves understanding, not punishment. Michaela is moments away from having the ticket completely dismissed. All she needs to do is accept the decision respectfully, thank the judge, and walk away without owing a cent. But just as mercy is extended, everything changes. In a single impulsive act, Michaela turns forgiveness into outrage. Right there in open court, on camera and beside her stunned mother, she raises her hand and gives Judge Caprio the middle finger. The courtroom falls silent, shocked by her blatant disrespect. That one gesture instantly reverses the judge's ruling. What was about to be dismissed now becomes a full fine, a lesson in how attitude can undo even the kindest act. Make sure you subscribe because 97% of viewers haven't, and this case shows why respect always matters. One moment of arrogance can erase every ounce of compassion. By the end of this video, you'll see how a teenager's rash decision transforms total forgiveness into complete accountability, how a mother's disbelief turns to regret, and why even the most merciful judges have limits that should never be crossed. Here's the question to think about. Why do some people reject kindness right at the moment it's offered? You're about to see it unfold in real time. Wednesday morning, 10:45 a.m., Providence Municipal Court. The bailiff announces the next case. Vehicle registered to Patricia Dawson. Red light violation, driver Michaela Dawson. A woman in her mid-40s walks to the podium with her teenage daughter. The mother appears professional and composed. The daughter, likely 18 or 19, is dressed casually but appropriately. Both seem slightly anxious yet polite. Judge Caprio greets them warmly. "Good morning, ladies, Mrs. Dawson." "Yes, Your Honor. I'm Patricia Dawson, and this is my daughter, Michaela." "Good morning, Michaela." "Good morning, Your Honor," she replies softly. The judge reviews the report. "I see the vehicle is registered to you, Mrs. Dawson, but it says your daughter was driving. Is that correct?" "Yes, Your Honor. Michaela borrowed my car that day to drive to work. She has her own insurance and permission to use it." Turning to the daughter, he continues, "Michaela, you're cited for running a red light at Hope Street and Angel Street. Can you tell me what happened?" Michaela answers carefully, choosing her words with respect. "Your Honor, it was raining heavily that morning. I was driving to work and approaching the intersection. The light was green when I was still back a bit, but it turned yellow as I got closer. I was driving the speed limit, about 35 mph, and I didn't think I could stop safely in the rain, so I went through." "So the light was yellow when you entered the intersection?" "I thought it was, Your Honor, but the officer said it was red. It must have changed just as I went through. It all happened very quickly." Judge Caprio turns to the monitor. "Let's review the video together." The footage shows a rainy intersection with limited visibility. Michaela's car approaches. The light turns from yellow to red just as her vehicle crosses the line. The judge studies the footage closely. "I can see what you mean. The light changed from yellow to red quite fast, and the weather conditions were clearly poor. Was this during Judge Caprio shows mercy in court rush hour, correct?" "Yes, Your Honor, around 8:30 in the morning." "And you were going the speed limit?" "Yes, Your Honor, 35 miles per hour. Because of the rain, I was being cautious." Patricia, her mother, adds softly, "Your Honor, my daughter is a careful driver. She's never received a ticket before. She was genuinely trying to stay safe in the bad weather." Judge Caprio nods, his tone understanding. "I can see from the footage that the light changed quickly, and the conditions were far from ideal. Michaela," he continues, "do you work full-time?" "Yes, Your Honor."
"I'm a CNA at a nursing home."
"I was heading to my morning shift when this happened." "A CNA," he repeats thoughtfully. "That's important work, and tough work, too." "Thank you, Your Honor. I really love what I do." "So you were simply trying to get to work on time, driving cautiously in the rain, and the light timing caught you off guard?" "Yes, Your Honor, exactly. Judge Caprio reviews the evidence once more. The courtroom can tell he's leaning toward compassion. This is a young woman with no prior offenses, doing meaningful work, caught in a challenging situation, bad weather and a fast-changing light. He looks up, smiling gently. I'm dismissing this citation. Subscribe to Judge Stories if you believe young people deserve second chances when they're respectful and sincere. Turning back to the two women, Judge Caprio continues kindly. Mrs. Dawson, Michaela, I want to explain my reasoning. They both listen closely, hope written on their faces. Michaela, technically you did run the red light. The video shows your vehicle entered the intersection after it turned red. That's the violation as written. Michaela nods, slightly disappointed. I understand, Your Honor. However, he adds, context matters. The rain was heavy, visibility was low, and the light changed unusually fast. You were driving at the limit cautiously and have no previous tickets. You're also a CNA, someone who helps others every day. That shows responsibility and character. Thank you, Your Honor. The fine for a red light violation is typically $175, he says, pausing before finishing with a kind smile. But in this case, justice means understanding, not punishment. The middle finger. Everything changes, that's not a small amount, especially for someone just beginning their career. Patricia speaks softly. Your Honor, if there's a fine, I'll help her pay it, but things are a bit tight for us right now. Judge Caprio nods with understanding. Mrs. Dawson, I appreciate your willingness to support your daughter. That's good parenting, but I'm not going to make either of you pay. Both women look up, surprised and hopeful. Michaela, I'm going to dismiss this citation. The situation calls for leniency. You were driving cautiously. You've been truthful about what happened. And I believe this was a reasonable judgment call under difficult conditions, not reckless driving. Michaela's face brightens with relief. Oh my God. Your Honor, thank you so much. Patricia presses her hand to her chest. Your Honor, that's incredibly kind. Thank you. Judge Caprio smiles, clearly glad he could offer compassion. Michaela, I want you to keep driving carefully. Keep working hard as a CNA and remember this moment. Not everyone receives a second chance, so make sure you earn the one I'm giving you. I will, Your Honor. I promise. Thank you so much. Judge Caprio picks up his stamp, ready to finalize the dismissal. Just to be clear, you owe nothing. The citation is dismissed. Drive safely. And this is where everything should have ended perfectly. A young woman forgiven, a mother comforted, a judge content in showing mercy. But in the 2 seconds between those words and the stamp meeting the paper, as Judge Caprio reaches for the dismissal stamp, Michaela turns to her mother with a wide grin. She's thrilled, she's relieved, and then, thinking it's a light-hearted moment of celebration, she raises her hand and flips her middle finger toward Judge Caprio. It's not subtle. It's not hidden. It's right there in open court, visible to everyone and captured on camera. The courtroom gasps aloud. Several people whisper, "Oh no." Patricia's face goes pale. Judge Caprio's hand freezes midair. The stamp never touches the paper. His expression shifts instantly from warm to cold. The kindness gone in a heartbeat. Dismissal withdrawn immediately. Excuse me. Michaela instantly realizes her mistake. The smile fades from her face. Judge Caprio. Did you just make an obscene gesture at me? Michaela. Your Honor, no, Patricia, alarmed, grabs her daughter's arm. Patricia. Michaela, what did you do? Judge Caprio's voice is calm but commanding. Judge Caprio. Miss Dawson, I was in the middle of dismissing your ticket. My hand was literally on the stamp. And you chose that moment to give me the middle finger? Michaela. Your Honor, I didn't mean it toward you. Judge Caprio. Then who was it directed at, Miss Dawson? You were looking right at me when you did it, Michaela stammers, scrambling for words. Michaela. Your Honor, I swear I was just excited. I acted foolishly. I didn't mean any disrespect. Judge Caprio. You raised your middle finger in my courtroom, Miss Dawson. In what world is that not disrespectful? Patricia looks horrified. Patricia. Your Honor, I'm deeply sorry. My daughter made a terrible mistake. She's young and wasn't thinking clearly. Judge Caprio raises his hand to stop her. Judge Caprio. Mrs. Dawson, I understand you're trying to defend her, but your daughter is 18. She's an adult, and adults are accountable for their actions. $475 fine announced. He turns back to Michaela. Judge Caprio. Miss Dawson, do you realize what just happened? Michaela begins to cry, genuine tears of panic and remorse. Michaela, Your Honor, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean any disrespect. I was just overwhelmed and did something really stupid without thinking. Judge Caprio. You acted disrespectfully in a court of law while I was showing you leniency. Michaela. I know, Your Honor. I know, I'm truly sorry. Judge Caprio leans back, his tone measured but firm. Judge Caprio. Let me explain something to you. When someone in authority chooses to show you compassion you haven't earned, the right response is gratitude, not excitement, not gestures. Simple, respectful gratitude, Michaela. Yes, Your Honor. You're absolutely right. Judge Caprio, your actions told me something about your character. It showed that your respect for this court and for me depends on convenience. When things go your way, you're polite. When you think you've won, you cross the line. That's not how respect works. Mother shocked as daughter cries in court. True, Your Honor. Your actions say otherwise. Miss Dawson, don't forget to subscribe to Judge Stories for real moments, when mercy turns into consequence. Judge Caprio sets down the dismissal, stamp and picks up another. The courtroom knows what's about to happen, and it isn't good. Miss Dawson, I was prepared to dismiss your citation. That will no longer be the case. Michaela's knees weaken slightly, and her mother steadies her arm. Your Honor, please, the fine for running a red light is $175. That amount must be paid in full. Your Honor, I understand. I'll pay it. I'm truly sorry. I'm not finished, Miss Dawson. The courtroom falls silent. For showing contempt toward this court, and for making an obscene gesture while I was extending leniency, I'm imposing an additional $300 penalty. Patricia gasps. Michaela's tears intensify. Your total fine is now $475, Your Honor, please. I can't afford that. You should have considered that before raising your middle finger in my courtroom. Patricia tries once more. Your Honor, I know my daughter made a serious mistake. She's young, learning, and $475 is a heavy amount for someone earning CNA wages. Is there any way? Judge Caprio's tone remains steady. Mrs. Dawson, I respect you. You seem like a caring mother trying to guide your daughter. But your daughter is an adult who made an adult choice to disrespect this court. She must face adult consequences. I understand. Your Honor, Judge Caprio turns to Michaela. Miss Dawson, you work as a CNA earning around $12 to $14 per hour, $13 an hour, Your Honor. Then $475 equals roughly 36 hours of work, about 1 week's pay. Yes, Your Honor. Do you realize you just lost a week's pay because of one careless gesture? Michaela sobs. Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Do you also understand that just seconds earlier you owed nothing? That I was dismissing your case entirely? You would have walked out of here free? Yes, Your Honor. I know, I'm so sorry. Apologies don't erase actions. Miss Dawson, they don't undo disrespect. What I hear is regret over the punishment, not true understanding of why your behavior was wrong. I do understand, Your Honor. I really do. Then explain to me why you did it. Michaela hesitates, struggling for words. The costly lesson through her tears, Michaela murmurs, I don't know, Your Honor. I was just so happy and relieved, and I acted without thinking. It was foolish and disrespectful. I wasn't raised to behave like that. I just made a poor choice in a moment of excitement. Judge Caprio studies her carefully. Miss Dawson, do you often make obscene gestures? No, Your Honor, never, she replies. Then why did you do it today in a courtroom to a judge? I don't have a good answer, Your Honor. It was wrong, and I'm ashamed. Judge Caprio's expression remains firm, but his tone shifts slightly. Less anger, more instruction. Like a teacher imparting a difficult but valuable lesson. Miss Dawson, I want you to understand something. This courtroom sees hundreds of people every week, young and old, wealthy and struggling. They all come here after making mistakes, breaking laws, or causing problems. And do you know what determines whether they receive mercy or face the full consequences? Michaela shakes her head silently. Attitude, respect, and humility, he says. Those who enter this courtroom with honesty and respect almost always find compassion. But those who show arrogance or contempt meet the full weight of the law. I understand, Your Honor. she says softly. You came in respectful and sincere. You explained your situation truthfully. You showed the kind of character that earns leniency, and I was ready to grant it without hesitation. I know, Your Honor. And then, he continues, you threw it all away with one careless gesture. One moment of poor judgment. Now instead of owing nothing, you owe $475, Patricia. Her mother speaks quietly. Your Honor, I'll help her pay it. We'll figure it out. Judge Caprio nods. Mrs. Dawson, you're a good mother, but I hope you'll allow your daughter to bear most of this cost herself. She needs to understand that actions have consequences. I will, Your Honor. She'll pay it herself. From the courtroom gallery, an older woman raises her hand. Judge Caprio notices. Yes, ma'am. She stands and says softly, Your Honor, may I speak? I've been watching this young woman throw away mercy, and it breaks my heart. I'm 73 years old. I've made mistakes in my life, and one thing I've learned is that moments of grace are rare gifts. When someone offers you understanding, you don't take it lightly, and you certainly don't dismiss it with disrespect. She turns toward Michaela. Young lady, today you learned a costly lesson. I hope it stays with you because the judge is right. Respect costs nothing, but disrespect nearly cost you $500. People in the courtroom quietly nod. Michaela can't speak through her tears. Judge Caprio continues. Miss Dawson, that woman just gave you advice worth far more than the fine you're paying. I hope you're really listening. I am, Your Honor. I really am. Good. Because here's what I want you to remember. Every day as a CNA, you'll care for elderly, sick, and vulnerable people. They'll rely on you to be patient, respectful, and composed. Yes, Your Honor. Those patients deserve someone who stays calm. Even when emotions run high, they need someone who can show respect and restraint, not someone who reacts impulsively. You're right, Your Honor. So let this $500 mistake change you. Let it remind you to think before you act. If you lose control when you're happy, what happens when you're angry? What happens when work becomes stressful or a patient tests your patience? Michaela nods, still emotional. I understand, Your Honor. It won't happen again. Where are you watching from? Share your city in the comments if you agree that one moment of disrespect can undo everything.